The prison wagon continues to rock and shake as you move off of the trail, off the beaten path. The bumping and jostling hurt your backs, hurt your necks, the back of your heads as they slam against the back of the wagon. And as the noonday sun kind of beats down upon you from above, you feel like you are sitting in an iron box. Essentially, you are. The metal around you is getting hot, it's getting warm. You're beginning to sweat profusely. And you can hear Carson and Bart up in the front just exchanging small talk and pleasantries still. As a particularly nasty bump slams the fourth figure who is still knocked out on the ground, the deputy, Malcolm. You wake up, your head throbbing, seated in the back of a prison wagon with 3 other individuals.
Good morning, Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, you're with them in the back of the wagon. That's you that I'm referring to, Malcolm.
Okay, sorry. So I'm just like in this wagon and I don't know why?
No, so essentially we're kind of like jumping back and forth, like from present time, like you guys are looking back in the past with in between things. So this is like present time right now. And then we'll go back into like what happened to lead to you guys getting here. So it's kind of like it's improvisation.
Yeah, the need to know is
Okay.
that you've been arrested for a murder that you didn't commit by, I think you probably know the name, Wyatt Starr.
Yeah, so you hear this voice, kind of one of your other prisoners, kind of speaking to you. You kind of sit up, the back of your head hurts. You feel like you've been essentially bouncing around in this wagon for hours, and you have. As you kind of like look around, kind of peering up at the sky, you can't really see anything. As kind of like the windows are high above you, so all you can see is a bit of the sky and your 2 jailers who are kind of like driving this wagon.
You better get up and get your head on straight, because these guys are going to try to kill us pretty soon.
Yeah, it'll like take a moment for Malcolm to like reorient to the situation. It's always difficult to like wake up somewhere, not remembering where, and like immediately attune to the situation. So we kind of like will shake his head for a moment to remind himself of where he is and why, and then we'll just kind of grunt and then nod.
Yeah, you look like a lawman. Maybe you could do something to get us the hell out of here.
I don't think these boys are going to listen to the law.
Yeah, law only counts if you got the reputation and authority to back it up. I'm guessing we don't have any equipment on us right now.
Yeah, you guys have been picked clean. You have nothing.
Yeah, and he'll just kind of gesture to where his gun belt would be and shrug.
Are we in chains as well, Tyler?
Your hands are manacled, but your feet are not.
So Eddie holds up his wrists, jangles the chains. We'll have to turn these into weapons, I guess. Might have to try and take them by surprise. They'll be thinking we're easy pickings. We let them think that until it's too late.
They said they were told to make it look like an accident. We could take advantage of that. Not just going to shoot us in here.
Roll me a perception check. Whoever's kind of like paying attention to the drivers, whoever feels like they'd be doing so.
Nat 1.
Crit.
You nat 20?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so nat 20, you'd hear the rattle and thump of wood on wood, and as you kind of like glance up, you'd see that they're kind of like lifting up, like they're both standing kind of now at this point. They're kind of lifted up the seat, and they're kind of pulling something out from like beneath the seat, and as they kind of like lower the seat again, this close to the secret compartment essentially beneath where, on top of which they were sitting, you see that they have like a bow and like arrows now, and like they are obviously tribal make. They've got like two like kind of tomahawks and like a war club. This is obviously kind of the accident they're looking to make it look like.
Don't get too loud, but I thought I saw some tribal weapons hidden underneath our seats. Maybe we can use that to fight back. Don't let on they know about it. We'll wait for our chance. It'll come. Just gotta stay calm like. Don't jabber your jaw, you hear me?
Yeah, as you say this, the bumping kind of stops, and you hear instead of like the wheels on wood instead of on this rock and dirt. And as you kind of like glance out the window to your side, kind of probably having to stand to like peer out, you'd see that you're crossing a bridge over like a large chasm. To your right, as you're kind of peering out, you see this huge, like kind of like a pit essentially. It's the pit. It's this large area inside of the canyon where, you know that any of you who are involved in any illicit activities know that lots of the like illicit deals go down here. But it's also a perfect spot to dump bodies as they find them here all the time. So you have a general idea of where you are, and as they kind of continue across this bridge, this long wooden bridge, roll me a perception check. Anybody who'd be watching out the windows.
The 8 from Eddie.
Okay.
Tyler.
Did you not 20 again?
Crit. I got another
serious?
crit.
Yeah, you're peering off into the distance, and you see this cloud of like dirt and dust rising to the air, a huge, huge plume of it. And as you're watching it, it doesn't seem like Bart and Carson have noticed, but it is a large group of individuals riding on horses moving towards you. Bart and Carson have not noticed. In fact, it's very difficult to see from how far they are currently.
This is interesting. See the dust over there. Now, who would be out here in force like this?
It could just be the wind. Why do you think it's someone coming to the rescue?
Well, I don't know if they're coming to the rescue, but that dust ain't acting like the wind. It's acting like horses. They don't look like they expect nothing. Maybe we could take advantage of this.
I guess, unless maybe that accident will turn out to be a real accident.
Suppose you're right.
Either way, it worked for them, I guess. Unless they get themselves killed, too.
Well, in chaos comes opportunity, as I always say. Definitely made that up myself. See what happens.
Yeah, as you're kind of watching the dust rising in the air, pluming skyward like smoke, you're reminded, you think back and you're standing looking through a doorway, smoke pluming from half-lit cigars and burning balls of mullah. It's like this drugs that people smoke. You kind of put it in like a pipe and let it just like kind of burn. It's like a pulp tobacco almost. It's kind of pluming in the air around you. It's kind of stinging your nostrils, very bitter. And the window in front of you shatters as these two copies of you and Jack jump out the window.
All right, let's get after him. And he'd run up to the window and look out.
Yeah, you'd see down on the street, there aren't two of them anymore, there are four. You see a copy as well of Eddie kind of standing down there looking up at you. Roll me a perception check as you look at him.
5.
Oh, wish you had that 20 now, don't you?
Yeah.
You can tell there's something off, but it's not quite, you don't understand entirely what is going on. But you can tell that there's something different about them as he looks up at you and the moon catches his eyes. And standing next to him is another figure. He is dressed finely. You see that he wears a peacekeeper badge. And as he looks up at you with Eddie, the two of them kind of like they look at each other, not saying anything, and all four of them start sprinting off down the street.
Would I have been able to take a shot at them before they split up like that?
Yeah, you could probably take a shot at them as they're running off.
All right. He'd raise his gun to shoot, and then think better of it, recognizing where they are and what's surrounding them.
Well, it doesn't seem to matter. As the shattered window, you hear footsteps coming up the stairs.
All right, I'll take a shot then.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and make me a ranged attack with your whatever weapon you're choosing to use.
Shout out, they're getting away! With a shotgun. How do shotguns work?
Oh, you're using a shotgun? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they're pretty far away from you. You're going to have disadvantage on the attack. But basically, if you attack a target and there's another enemy, are you using a sawed-off or a normal shotgun?
A normal one.
Okay. So you're actually not going to have disadvantage on the attack. If you're using a sawed-off, you attack the person, and if there's somebody within 5 feet of them would get hit too, you can choose up to one other person to get hit by the shot. So you're just going to make a normal attack against one of the figures with your shotgun.
Okay. All right. He got a 17.
Okay, that hits.
Gotta break out my D8s. And it's 2D8 plus dex?
Yes.
17 damage.
Okay, and these are normal pellets, right? They're just like
14 plus 3.
They're just like it's normal shot, right?
I would assume they're normal. Yeah, he wouldn't.
Yeah. Okay.
He's not like a monster hunter or anything. So.
Yeah. Okay. So you'd shoot, and you expect it to take down one of these guys. Like you hit him square in the back. It's a great shot, even from this range of the shotgun, and he doesn't even stumble. In fact, you see that it tears through his. What's your passive perception, by the way? Oh, 13?
12.
12. 12. Okay. You see it tears through the back of his jacket, and as he just keeps running, and you watch as the pellets just kind of fall out of the bottom of his jacket onto the ground behind him. Almost as if they didn't even pierce or lodge in the skin.
Well, I'm in over my head. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Get out of the way. I got this. I jumped from the building.
You jump out of the building? Nice.
In pursuit.
Okay, yeah, you leap out of the building, falling 3 floors. That's going to be like 2d6 bludgeoning from the fall.
3.
He's a monk, though.
I am a monk, but I don't have...
You don't have the super...
No, I don't have slow fall yet. Rip.
Aw.
Okay, so that's going to
not
be
bad.
7 points of damage as you kind of land, your knees cracking against the fall.
Excellent. Then I use my super swift speed to chase these bitches down.
Okay. Yeah, you take off after them. He is hot in pursuit. You watch him jump out the window, kind of, Jack just leaps past you, falling and kind of landing in a tumble before taking off after this group. What are the rest of you guys doing? You two, August and Keel. Not Keel, Eddie. You would have seen the bullet, the shot hit him in the back, and the pellets just kind of fall out.
Yeah, that's his jaw drops a bit with that. I mean, even more so than seeing identical copies of themselves down on the street below. I think Eddie's going to try and not let them get away as well. And hearing the footsteps coming up the stairs and seeing Jack jump out the window, I think Eddie will try and climb his way down out through the window and out down onto the ground.
Okay, acrobatics or athletics check.
All right. 17 acrobatics.
Nice. Yeah, you kind of just leap out, kind of holding onto the edge of the window and then dropping down to the next window down, kind of your feet landing on the steel. It kind of cracks beneath you a bit as your weight lands on it, but you're able to get down to the street without taking any damage. Takes a little bit longer than Jack's way, but you make it. August, behind you, you hear the door burst open again, and the woman from behind the bar, like this saloon keeper, essentially, kind of like looks in. She sees all the bodies, like looks at you, and just starts to scream and back away.
Whoa! You gotta get fuck. He would say, call up all the men you can. The murders are fucking running away. Look.
Roll me persuasion, dude. At disadvantage.
I mean,
you look pretty...
he's surrounded by a bunch of people who got slashed, so maybe. Okay, persuasion.
Yeah.
20, not natural.
Oh, okay. She kind of like stops for a second, like looking at you and then looking at the bodies, and I think she like sees, like kind of comes to the same conclusion, like she sees like all the slash marks and looks at you, but then she doesn't see your three companions, so she's still suspicious, but not immediately so. She starts to yell. You see her yelling for the guards, like she kind of like runs to the stairs. She's like, "Get up here!"
All right, let's go. He jumps out the window too.
You're just jumping out?
Which way I went? He shouts.
Okay, you're just jumping out. Ooh, that's 10 points. As your knees just cave. You're not trained in like the tuck and roll. You land and your knees almost break.
Ugh.
But
Takes
you
it like a champ, though.
Eddie, who's like still climbing down. Like Eddie's just like going down, and then you just like right past him. But you see your Jack kind of sprinting down the road.
He'll sprint after him.
Okay. So you guys are, I guess we're entering kind of another chase scene. Let's go ahead and roll initiative then.
Got a 15.
Okay, so we got 15, 20, and 8. Yeah, not yet for you yet, Jeff. Okay. So we've got top of the order, 20. We got 20, Jack, 18, Dawson Fingers, 15, August. Okay, Jack, you are hot on the heels of these doppelgangers.
So Jack would just kind of break out into a sprint. Hearing the noises behind him, we'd kind of think like, oh man, they were kind of dumb to jump out the window too. And I guess I would just move, dash, and then I would have used some of my machismo to try and sprint as fast as I can.
Okay. Keep in mind, you guys have not taken a break or rest yet between this session and last session. So if you have any points of exhaustion, you still have them. Okay. So yeah, you sprint off after them, using a bit of your machismo I'm guessing you're double dashing?
Yeah, so it actually be triple because it's the move, the dash, and then the pugilist monk has the bonus action dash.
Okay, so you're gonna move. What's your normal movement?
40, so it's 120 feet.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, you just take off after these guys, and you are actually gonna catch up to your copy of yourself. And I'm guessing that's all you can do.
Stop, you handsome devil.
He doesn't. He gives you the
Worth
bird.
shot.
He actually just over his shoulder gives you the bird.
See, is Spirit Sight take an action to use? I don't remember. I don't think.
Spirit Sight. Let me hear and pull that up for you. Part of the deal. Oh, I never specified. Let's say the bonus action.
All right.
Oh, okay. Are you using it then?
Can't have to wait.
Okay. That's an hour. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, you catch up to them. And your copy of you kind of just looks over its shoulder at you, and it's going to turn on you. It doesn't pull out a gun. It doesn't do any of that crap. Instead, you see it as it turns back and looks at you. The moon kind of catches its eyes, and for a second, roll me a perception check.
15.
These eyes are not human. You see that they're kind of slit down the middle, and they are lupine, wolfish in appearance. And as it turns, it's going to attack you twice. As its hands, its fingers elongate into claws. Okay, that is going to be a 19 and a 19.
Yep, I'm getting wrecked.
Okay. Ouch. Okay, that is going to be a total of 18 points of damage as it just rips through your flesh and skin, tearing huge chunks out of you.
Oh boy. Okay. So Jack keeps his cool. Man, that's pretty that's a pretty aggressive move.
Yeah, the other doppelganger turns back and looks at you too. And they start to back away, and they're menacing you with their claws. They're going to see if you take an opportunity attack.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for it.
Okay, the other one's going to leap on you then as you make your opportunity attack. Go ahead.
Crit. Let's
No
go.
way. Are you serious?
Hell yeah, dude.
Okay, dude, give me that damage. For you currently, I believe it's a D6 plus your dex doubled.
I rolled a 1. Dope. So that's let's see, 4, so 8 damage total.
Oh, it's a D4 right now.
I'm gonna use my last point to try and force the con save for the knockout.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So DC 13.
Oh, okay. No, so that's an 18 natural, like a
Damn
23 then. You kind of it feels different as you hit this thing. It feels as if you're not necessarily even hitting like flesh or the clothing. It feels like you're hitting fur.
That's so
and
weird.
as you slam into this thing, as you kind of like your fist just like connects to this fur, it kind of just gets matted in it, and it's like greasy and wet, and your fist comes away like, oh, what the? And the other one pounces on you.
Rip some of the hair out.
Okay, yeah. Give me. No, you can just pull some free. It just kind of yelps in pain as you pull it free, and the other one pounces on you. Oh, that's a 27 and a 26.
I'm probably going down here.
Okay, and that's going to be another 19 points.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah,
So
it just tears. Huh?
I was just gonna say, yeah. So they like claw into me, and just like the shock of like seeing that much blood just get like ripped out of my flesh, just makes me lose consciousness.
Yeah, this copy of August actually leaps forward, and you see his mouth unhinges as he bites down on the side of your neck and pulls free. You see that he doesn't have normal teeth; they're like these long, like dog wolf fangs. As he rips free some of your flesh and then backs away as you fall to the ground. The rest of them running as the rest of them all take dash actions. You are now unconscious on the ground, bleeding heavily. I need you to roll me a con save against disease.
Oh
Right.
no.
What'd you get?
Yeah, a crit, my trusty die.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so as you fall to the ground, you feel like you look and you feel at your neck as like you're just stuck in this shock, and you see as you pull your hand away that they're mixed and mingled with the blood is kind of this thick, kind of oozy saliva. And as you pull your hand away in the blood, you just kind of your eyes roll back in your head as you fall to the ground. This fur clutched in your hand and just blood just pouring from your neck. The other two of you catch up to him as you kind of move on your turns. August, it's your turn.
Oh shit.
With your passive perception, you would see your copy like jaw unhinge, and you'd see the wolf teeth instead of normal human teeth.
Yeah, they're running away.
Yeah, they're bailing out. They're skedaddling.
I mean, I think he realizes that they would be able to outrun him anyway, even if he did chase after him. So he would stop to try to stabilize Jack.
Yeah. Go ahead and make me a check. Medicine check.
Okay. What's my medicine? I don't have any medicine, but I rolled a 14.
Yeah, you're good. You stabilize Jack. You see that this thick, oozy saliva kind of dripping from the wound. You're able to kind of press some gauze down onto this, like you rip like a sleeve of your shirt off and press it down in this wound. And you see clutched in Jack's hand is this like thick, like black brown fur that is like, it's very, very long, very thick, and it's greasy. You see that his hand is wet from holding it. Eddie, you catch up now.
He skids his own dust trail into the air as he comes past Jack and starts skidding to a halt. Seeing that they're fleeing and that they probably can't take them all out right now. But he glances down and sees August tending to Jack, and so he holds his revolver up, clicks it open for the normal bullets to drop out, and loads a single silver bullet in, spins it, takes aim, and shoots, trying to hit one of the doppelgangers, just to try and at least clip it and wound it as they run, hoping that it doesn't turn around and come back for more.
Yeah, give me an attack.
That's a 13 to hit.
13?
Take my inspiration.
Oh, yeah? All right.
Yeah. You'd say normal bullets don't work.
Exactly the same, dude. 13.
Hey, 13 will not hit.
Okay.
Yeah, so you shoot at this thing, firing your bullet at it, and it just hits one of the stone cobbles. It just bounces off into the night.
Is he all right? Is he going to live?
Yeah, he'll live. It's gonna be heavy to carry back, though.
Let's get us the hell out of this place.
Yeah, you'd hear shouts from the saloon behind you, the Nest, as it's called. And as you kind of like look back, kind of glancing up at the window, you'd see there's a group of guards, of these like kind of saloon guards looking down at you. You see they're talking like between themselves. 1 second.
So did they see the exchange that we just had?
No, they did not. They just barely got there.
Damn.
Yeah, they see you guys kneeling in the middle of the road, and they come to a consensus very quickly, and they all draw their revolvers, and they start firing at you.
Fuck.
So attacks at disadvantage because you're pretty good outside their range right now.
So this is where we get caught.
Ooh, they all suck. They are missing so bad. Okay, one bullet clips. I'll just roll. Okay, one bullet is going to clip you, August, in the shoulder. Fired from a revolver. You're going to take 2d6. 8 points of damage as this revolver bullet just slams into your shoulder. You're kind of like, you start to bleed. Then you hear them shouting, like, get down there, go get them. and they all sort of like turn around and start running down the saloon steps. You know how bad this looks, August. You've been in some deep shit before, and this looks real bad.
Yep, we're getting the fuck out of here. Wake up, you big oaf! Wake the fuck up! We're gonna die! And then, seeing they won't wake up, he'll pick them up and like fireman carry them.
Okay, are the two of you like helping each other carry him, basically, you and Eddie?
Yeah.
Okay, so no strength checks then. I'm going to need you guys to make a stealth check, though, to get out from under their radar.
Okay. Stealth.
9.
18.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you're able to pick up the slack for Eddie. I'm going to have them roll perception checks. Or investigation, I guess, technically, try and find you. These are not smart people, though, so they don't have good investigation. Oh, they all suck. Okay, yeah, it's like, you guys, like, duck down an alleyway and kind of, like, make your way towards one of these crappy shanty houses. You see that it's unoccupied and slip inside, kind of sliding this piece of loose metal back into place as you guys duck in. The wound is bleeding pretty bad. You've been able to stabilize him, but he needs a surgeon or he's going to keep bleeding.
All right. So thinking to himself, is there anybody reputable in town?
There are some reputable surgeons. There's one that works for the Hardens, who's very well respected. Let me hurry in.
How about disreputable?
Of course there are disreputable ones too. You know that there's a doctor kind of on this side of town. They call him the Madman, simply because he's a little not entirely there. But he was apparently once pretty reputed, like well known as a doctor until he lost his marbles. Those who have accepted his help, he asks the people call him Dr. Birch, but they still call him the Madman.
All right. So I won't take him to him. He'd kind of talk with.
You might be able to find a Biol healer somewhere in the town too, but that's like a very specific part of the nest you'd have to go to.
Okay.
Well, Tyler, with Eddie's Biol heritage and his sort of underground nature, would he maybe know a contact, or could I make a roll?
Yeah, roll me just a flat intelligence check.
17.
Okay, you know that there's a guy in the northern sector kind of the nest right before it turns into kind of the upper class area of High Hope. There's a healer there who goes by Ahanu. He kind of takes care of the people there for free, kind of dealing with their wounds and healing those who come to him. It's actually been a big source of issues for the Nortons because they like to hold control over anybody of any importance. So the fact that this guy is kind of getting away with this is a pretty big deal to them. They've hunted for him quite a bit.
A man named Ahanu, Biol, tribal healer. You try and get him there, north sector of the nest.
All right, that's pretty close.
Okay, I'm gonna need you guys then. I'm gonna need a stealth check at advantage because it's getting late, and you know these streets, August. And I'm gonna need that from you, and from Eddie. I'm gonna need you to make me an intelligence check to remember how to get there, or at least to the area where he's said to be.
Okay. I got a 24 in stealth with advantage.
Whew, okay, nice.
But we got a 7 on the intelligence and navigation.
Nice. Okay. You spend the vast majority of the night trying to get to the north part of the nest, and that is where we are going to switch over to Malcolm. Yeah, Malcolm, right? Malcolm Chase, yeah. Okay, so it is the next morning, the morning after this incident that happened at the Nest. And you have been called on by the sheriff. The sheriff wishes to see you. Oh, my word. I can't remember his freaking name. Sheriff Mitchell has requested you to be there early at the office, at the sheriff's station. Or I guess it's not really a station. It's like the jailhouse, I guess. Malcolm.
Yeah, Malcolm would be up and eager, ready to have this meeting, assuming that it must be of some import to be called before the usual hours. So he'd make sure that he was awake and presentable. He'd like take an extra bit of time to like adjust the star on his jacket so that it's like precisely straight up and down and not off center, and like make sure that he's like as presentable as he can be before he'll walk in.
Yeah, you kind of walk into the jailhouse. Jingle Bob's kind of clinking in the sunlight on the back of your spurs, and as you make your way in, you would see that the sheriff is kind of poring over. This is the most involved you've actually ever seen him be in the laws of the town. He's kind of like leaning over these papers. You see him like scratching his head, just kind of like sighing and muttering to himself. And as you come in, the door shutting behind you, he'd glance up. Deputy, take a seat. And you kind of like reach out beneath the table and kick a chair out for you.
Morning, Sheriff. I'll say, and then take a couple slow, controlled strides towards the chair, pulling it just a bit further out from the table before sitting down. And would look curiously down at the papers, and then back up at the sheriff, not wanting to be rude and to look at the documents without permission.
Yeah, you would see that there are kind of 10 papers on the ground on the desk in front of him. Each of them has like a little picture kind of like attached to the top of it, or several pictures, and it shows like these like brutally murdered and like cut up bodies. You can't tell if it was like a Bowie knife or a machete or what, but something has torn through like 10 or 11 people. And you see him kind of like flipping through these documents, just kind of shaking his head. I need to ask before we begin, Deputy, where were you last night?
Malcolm's face would kind of scrunch up quizzically, and curiously. Would I have had any standard duty to attend to the night before that I would have been doing?
You would have received several bribes to be an official stand-in at some a couple of meetings between some of the families, but I'm sure you probably turned those down. So what you would probably have been on is just like patrolling the streets, or like making sure that nothing got to get out of town, out of hand at one of the saloons.
I was doing my nightly patrol, checking in at some of the stops, making sure that I wasn't in any trouble. He'll kind of like shake his head. Like, of course he was. Like, why would he be asked this question when there's no reason that he would shirk his duty?
Well, last night, 11 people at the Nest Saloon were all murdered, slashed up pretty bloody. And you kind of grab a piece of paper. A witness claimed that they saw 4 individuals go in and up to the 3rd floor, where a witness just so happened to be from a murder that happened 2 days ago. The entire room was cut up, slaughtered, everybody. And these are the descriptions of the individuals. And he kind of slides the paper towards you, and you see one of the descriptions actually directly, like he kind of has names next to each of them of who they were. You see Jack Grimshaw, August Boone, Eddie Morton, and Malcolm Chase. And the description of what Malcolm Chase was wearing is exactly what you were wearing the night before.
Some kind of joke, prank on the new guy. Come on.
Malcolm, I had 11 bodies on my hand. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this is happening. All right. But one of the people that was in that building was a witness to a murder 2 days ago. Look, I gave those other 3 boys a chance to clear their name, to do something about it, and it seems like they went and killed the witness. And per what I've been told, the descriptions I've been giving, you helped them.
You've got to be kidding. Why would I do that?
I don't know. Can you remember ever having any disagreements with the man, Jasper? Did you do something? Did he do something to you? I'm trying to understand this too, Deputy.
I mean, half this town hates us. The other half is trying to buy us. Everyone has some disagreement with the peacekeeper, with the sheriff. There's nothing new there. They probably just described me being there to try to get at me. Maybe I turned down a bribe or something. I don't know. Happened so many times I can't remember who and what everything does. Everyone does all the time. He's just like shaking his head back and forth like this is like completely ridiculous.
Look, I'm going to give you the same deal I gave them, Malcolm. You got 48 hours. If you can prove that this wasn't you, that somebody's just setting you up, or if you can sink the other 3, prove that they somehow got a 4th person to get you in on this, prove that they're the ones who did it, I can clear your name, but I need confession. I need something from somebody, or else I have to take all 4 of you in.
You can't be serious. You believe this random no-name townsperson over me? Your deputy? Come
Look,
on.
I don't know what to believe, Malcolm. Okay? All I know is about a dead witness on my hand and 2 unsolved murders, combining into a grand total of 12 people in the space of 3 days. And he leans forward. Look, I gotta do something. If I don't, the families will be all over us. How long do you think we'll last once we got that shit on our hands?
Trust me, I'm not saying that we don't look into this. Of course we look into this. That's our job. That's the law. But if you think for 1 second that I actually was a part of this, I don't know what to say. I'll look into it, but you know that wasn't me.
Roll me insight.
Uh, 9.
You can tell that he knows it wasn't you, but there's something else going on here. You
But
assume he's
did they
probably trying
bribe
to
you to get rid of me?
Look, Malcolm, I'm not trying to get rid of you, okay? You do your job, you work hard. That's fine. If you don't want to accept bribes, that's on you. You see that he's sweating profusely. Like, there's something else going on here.
He'll just like shake his head frustratedly.
Look, these statements haven't been released. You're in the clear still. Go check out the nest. Go see what you can find. Maybe try and track down the other 3 who were there. I don't know what else to tell you.
I'll see what I can find. But because I'm a peacekeeper, not because I have anything to prove.
He kind of just waves his hand like, yeah, whatever. He kind of goes back to the papers, trying to figure, like, you see that he's, like, trying to make sense or piecemeal what's going on here.
Yeah, I'll just like stand up and shake his head one more time. As he'll like put his hand down on the desk to lift himself up a little bit harder than he would need to. Thumping in exasperation.
And yeah, okay, what's your passive perception?
12.
As you do this, one of the papers kind of slips beneath your palm, and you see a sealed letter kind of beneath all these papers with the Harden family crest on it.
Yeah, I'll like see the symbol. And my eyes will kind of narrow at it.
The sheriff hurriedly like moves the papers back over it and kind of like gives you a look like, are you going?
I'll report back soon.
The
He'll, like turn and walk away as he turns.
yeah, and you shout after you as you're leaving. The witness said he saw him moving north.
Yeah, he'll just like shrug his shoulders, like, "Oh, very helpful. North, how useful." He's like rumbling
Okay.
to himself, like, "This is ridiculous," but not loud enough to be heard.
Yeah, you make make your way outside. It is like early morning now. There's kind of a cold breeze moving through the town. You see, like you look over the sky and you see dark clouds. You're like, is it gonna rain? No, it never rains. Um, it's just kind of like that false hope, kind of putting it there before you, but you know nothing's gonna happen. And as you kind of make your way outside, kind of out to the boardwalk, you see that there's some other people kind of starting to get up and move around into town. You see like a group of like 6 individuals kind of move past you. At their waist, you see this kind of this silvery revolver. These are all Martells. You can tell they've all been bought out because of the revolver they're carrying. These dead fire weapons. And as they kind of move past you, kind of making their way down the street, one of them kind of look back at you and kind of give you a sneer before continuing along with the rest of them. This is just typical behavior of anybody in the town towards you. They don't like somebody who can't be bought.
Yeah, he'll like eye them cautiously as they walk by, just to make sure that this isn't going to escalate into any sort of real trouble, and that it's just dirty looks. And then once they're past, and he realizes that he's safe for the time being, uh, he'll continue on and figure that if anywhere he should go to the scene of the crime first, try to see what he can gather from it, and he'll head in that direction.
Yeah, you easily make your way there. Kind of arriving at the nest around noon. Nobody bothers you on the street. You're wearing a peacekeeper badge, and the small people, these people who live here, they know that you are somebody who's fighting for them essentially, and so they don't bother you. They don't attack you like they would attack somebody else who looks well off. They would kind of just give you nods. This is actually one of the few places in town where you feel most accepted in a weird way, even though everybody else is kind of like hunted here. So as you kind of make your way through, people are giving you nods, and then somebody would kind of step out onto the street and offer you like an apple or like just like whatever they can, and just like tell you thank you for doing your job. Essentially, these are people who know that you aren't somebody who will be bought and like will sell them out too.
And of course, he'll go through like the usual routine of like, "No, no, you need the food more than I do," and then so on, just like denying the little gifts, knowing that he can pay for his own food with his salary, and that these people need it way more than he does. But he'll like thank them for their compliments and like reassure them as he goes.
Yeah, you're one of the few peacekeepers who can actually move through this town, through this part of the town at least. And you would see just the sorry state of everything. There is like shit smeared in the streets. You see that people are living in these like really terrible kind of like corrugated iron shantytown houses. They kind of piecemeal together. You see that some people are kind of like living in the gutters between these houses. They kind of just stretched out tarps over their bodies so they can just at least sleep dry, even though it's not raining at all. They just like there's like the hope that it will rain. And as you're kind of like moving, continuing through the town, you would see now that there's kind of like sunlight out and like the sun's rising in the sky, you're able to see kind of the marks on these people's skins. Like literally half this town is branded like livestock by the oh my goodness, what are their names? The Crowans, oh my word, the ones that own the water.
Preston.
The Prestons, yeah. These people are owned by the Prestons. They can't afford water, and so now they are like branded and used however the Prestons want. It's kind of like this. They're literally tattooed with like a water drop, showing that they are owned by this company, that they have sold themselves to it. And as you kind of move through the streets, eventually you arrive at the nest. You see there's a broken window on the 3rd floor, and it's kind of like quarantined off. Like there are a couple of other peacekeepers who are getting dirty like glares from the crowd, but they're like doing their best to keep people out of the crime scene. And as you approach, they kind of like look at you with like dirty glances, and suddenly you feel the hostility there again from the town, but this time it's from your own comrades.
He'll see the dirty looks, he's used to it. He hasn't been here that long, but it's already become so much of a par for the course that it's just understood that he's going to get that, and he can, for the most part, except for on really bad days, just shrug it off. He'll like walk up, casually, but purposefully, and look at the other peacekeepers who are kind of pushing people away.
Hey, you know that these two, their names are Shane and Ryder.
Morning, boys.
They kind of just like give you a nod. They don't respond. Like it's like the little chin lift. I'm like, yeah, okay, essentially.
What have you guys gathered here so far? Sheriff's having me come down and take a look.
They kind of like look inside. Not much else to tell. There was a murder, a lot of murders actually. Big, flashing, cut up everybody. Up in one of the drug dens upstairs. Very last one on the left, 3rd floor. It looks like knives or machetes or some sort of bladed weapon was used. I don't know. We can't really make heads or tails of it. It looks like an animal was in there.
Any leads so far? Any tips? Anything?
They kind of look at each other and look back at you, like does he not know the news essentially? And you see this glance, like the exchange. You can read like what they're thinking. We've got an identified August Boone. He works for the Crotons. We've got Eddie Morton. He works for the Prestons on the water. And Jack Grimshaw. He hangs around the Martells a bit. But other than this, they're not really connected. You see they're kind of holding back on saying the fourth one. Like it's on the tip of their tongues, like they want to smear your face in it, but they don't know what the sheriff told you and what the deal is.
Yeah, and he'll know that he has this sort of immunity to their chiding. That's the until the sheriff makes an official announcement that they can't say it under their own penalty of punishment, and that it's bad for them to do so. So he'll kind of revel in the fact that they're forced to keep silent, but he won't show it on his face. Just feel it down.
They want to say it bad
deeper than
too.
that.
Like
Yeah,
they're like fighting against it, like biting their lip and just like kind of like holding it back.
So I heard the one prime witness didn't end up making it out. Anybody else here knows what happened, or at least was around?
We've got the barkeeper. She's been helpful. Said that she saw the four of them. They kind of give you this look. Come in maybe an hour or two before midnight. Went upstairs. She didn't hear anything for a while. Said that they came back down at some point. She didn't know when. And went back up again, and that's when she heard the gunshot, the breaking window, and the yells and shouts.
All right, I'm gonna go take a look inside, if it pleases, and I'll go to like brush past them unless they stop him.
Oh yeah, they shoulder check you as you move past, but they don't stop you. They let you go through.
Yeah, he'll feel like the goof as they purposefully don't move out of the way enough, and then he walks into them, and he'll just kind of give a polite, but clearly cheeky, tongue-in-cheek.
Oh, they hate
tip
you
of
more
the hat
for it.
down
They hate you so
back
much
to
more
them.
for it.
And he'll just kind of like look back. Unless there's anything else that you guys have to say, I think I'll take my leave. Like knowing that they can't, and he'll smile at them.
One of them, Ryder, he like almost takes the bait. He's like, "Oh yeah, we've got something to say," and he's about to say something, and Shane just kind of punches him in the shoulder. Just let him go past. He'll get what he deserves. They move to the side and let you go through now.
Yeah, and pass down and go into the bar itself.
Yeah, you see that the bottom floor of this saloon, kind of where all the tables are, and like the kind of little piano in the corner, everything's kind of like tipped over. in the commotion from last night. Nobody's bothered riding any of the tables or the chairs. You see that the behind the bar has been raided a little bit, obviously during the barkeep's absence when she ran upstairs. And she's kind of sitting there behind the bar, drinking like a really, really crappy scotch. You can tell that it's like a super, super poor make. The bottle's kind of like really dusty and like grimy looking. And she's kind of just like drinking straight out of it. You see that she just is like super confused. She's looking down at her hands. An older, rougher looking woman. Like if she was Norse, she'd be Helga. She just looks like she's been around a few bar fights and she has kept this saloon running out of sheer grit.
Yeah, I'm guessing after what's happened and the fact that it's morning, there would probably be very few people in here.
Yeah, it's
not many
quarantined
who
off.
would
She's the
wanna
only
hang
one in
around
here.
like a 12-person murder scene.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
he'll like
Yeah.
thud confidently through the bar, just doo, 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 his boots on the wood, and he'll just like sidle up to the bar, like lean forward on it.
Yeah, she'd
Morning
look
there.
up and she'd see you, and her eyes would widen, and she'd like back away from you, kind of up against the bar, up against the shelves, and like she like reach underneath the bar and like pull out this knife and like point it at you.
Yeah, Malcolm will just like take a step back, confused and alarmed, and he'll like put his hands up. Whoa, what's going on? Just here as part of the peacekeepers. Wanted to ask you some questions.
Get out of my bar, murderer, now.
What?
You don't play those games with me. I gave the sheriff your description. You should be in chains right now.
I wasn't even here.
I saw you. I know you were here.
Look, I don't know if one of the families paid you to say that, but whatever's going on, I assure you, you're either pulling one over on me or you're mistaken. I don't know which.
Nobody paid me to say anything. You murdered 12 people last night. Along with those 3 friends of yours, where are they? Are they in chains already? You here to shut me up?
Look, if anything that you just said had any water with those peacekeepers that let me through the door, I don't think so. I just wanted to talk.
Roll me persuasion at advantage. That's a pretty sound argument against her right now.
Fuck. That's a 3 and a 5 on the die.
She doesn't believe you for shit. She like steps back, and you see her like reach underneath the counter again as you kind of like, as you're like, whoa, calm down. You take a step forward. She pulls out a shotgun. Oh, stay back. Don't come near me.
Yeah, he'll just like keep his empty hands up. It's just like flabbergasted. Like, what do you even say to somebody who's like so erratic? Like he doesn't know what to do. Like he's handled some crazy people, but like never someone so fervently believing that he has done something so insane.
Yeah, and you can tell from working with some pretty insane people in this town that she's not insane. She's terrified. She firmly believes you're going to murder her. And that is what probably sets you off most, like that you don't understand. Because, yeah, it's for you. You weren't here. But something is going on because she believes it completely with all of her being.
Yeah, he'll just like take a couple steps away, to like show that he means no harm, uh, which obviously isn't gonna convince her, given how firmly she believes otherwise. Uh, it's like, I don't know what's going on or why. Clearly, you think that you saw me here. I know that I wasn't here. Something else is happening. The sheriff himself asked me to come down here and investigate. All I'm trying to do is just take a look around, ask some questions, and then I'll be gone. If anything that you're saying holds any water, you'll never see me again after that.
Yeah, you see her hands are shaking. That terrifies you. You see her finger like twitching, like near the trigger. And she kind of just backs away from you and sits down on a stool in like the back corner behind the bar, like sliding the brandy with her and just watching you with the shotgun. And she kind of just nods towards the stairs, like, "Go then. Go see what you did."
And like make sure to keep his hands up and like take like the slowest, most deliberate, purposeful movements that he's ever taken.
Yeah.
As he'll like step slowly, calmly, and carefully like towards the stairs to go up and take a look.
Yeah, you make your way up the steps. There's kind of like this very narrow staircase that kind of just winds around the central pole. Up to a second floor where you see this balcony and a bunch of like seats and tables up there, and then up to the third floor where it kind of turns into a hallway. You see that the hallway's lined on either side. It's like a long hallway up at the very top of this building, and it's lined on either side with like 4 rooms on the left and 4 rooms on the right. And the one at the very end on the left is like open. You see there's dried blood that's kind of seeped out from beneath the door onto the floorboards.
Yeah, he'll approach towards the scene where the actual crime is supposed to have been committed, and just like see the blood dried on the floor, and will just like shake his head at the carnage of it all.
Yeah, like a very irony tang kind of like hits your nose as you kind of reach the end of this hallway. It's like, you know, it's like noon, like I said, and so the sun's kind of high in the sky. It's been heating up this blood, and it smells. It's pungent. It's very, very strong. And as you kind of look into this room, you see the 11 bodies kind of sprawled out in various positions. You can see kind of like 2 people who are kind of sitting on this like lounging couch kind of in the corner. A couple that are like up against the wall in the back. The door, they kind of were scrabbling at the door. It seems to have been jammed shut at one point. It looks like a little like a nick in the doorway and a nick in the door itself, as if like somebody shoved like a stick in it or something. You see that there are bodies piled up near the window, and one of them very deliberately laid out in the center with nothing near it. And you recognize this as Jasper. You interviewed him yourself, actually. He was the witness of the first murder.
Yeah, he'll like take up part of his jacket and like pull it up over his mouth and nose to mask it from the insane stench of the place. It's still like enough even through all that to like have to like stifle gags to prevent himself from throwing up at the just incredible stench. But then he'll go about as best as he can to follow his peacekeeper training and give the place a full look over to see if he can find any clues or anything that might signal anything outside of just the pure carnage of it.
So how many hours are you willing to look, or like how long are you willing to spend to get a bunch of detail out of this situation, the scene? This will determine how you roll, like, and how many times you get to roll.
I mean, as much time as I could. I'd spend, you know, even a couple hours if I could.
Okay.
As long as nobody's going to interrupt me and make me leave.
Yeah, so no one's going to interrupt you. You have clearance to be here. The sheriff hasn't released any statements, so the peacekeepers won't throw you out, and the woman's terrified of you. So if you want to spend 2 hours investigating, I'll let you make 2 rolls at advantage. Investigation, perception, nature, or anything else you can really justify. Maybe medicine or surgery, if you'd like to try those. And you'll get different information for each thing you try to roll. So you can either roll 2 at advantage or 4 times, 4 different rolls. And I'll give you different information for each one.
All right. Yeah, I'll do 2 at advantage. The first one's going to be an investigation, and it's a 21. Just to straight up just try to look for anything that seems out of place or any patterns you can notice.
First thing, so okay, investigation. As you're kind of like looking around, kind of inspecting the bodies, you kind of like start moving furniture out of the way and like digging through. Kind of, there's just like piles of like mallow wrappers, which are like it's like tobacco paper, kind of like this really like waxy paper that's kind of wrap around these like balls of mala, which is like this really like illicit drug. and you find moving these out of the way and like digging around through all the refuse and the detritus, and you would find you move one of the chairs out of the way, and there's a body kind of back behind this like big rocking chair, and you move it out of the way, and you would see on this body there's like 5 straight cuts all the way down its chest to its waist, and it's almost been disemboweled by the cuts. But you've seen cuts like these before, and they don't come from a blade. They're jagged and ripped and tearing, almost serrated from like a serrated weapon. But you know you've seen this once before, and it was from a bear. So it looks like a bear tore this man apart. And as you kind of like start looking around, you see that the cuts on other people, they look like bear wounds rather than like from bear claws rather than like blades. Which confuses you even more, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll just like see the wounds and like shake his head. Like his first thought is like that this like crime must have happened somewhere else. Like they must have been caught out in the wilderness and like attacked or had a bear set up upon them by some group who had captured them, and then the bodies were moved, or like some insane like crazy plot that like only would happen in some movie. But like it's the only thing you can think of that would even make sense. Like how could you obviously a bear wasn't up here in this top room of this saloon. But to like continue on going despite the confusion, but take careful note of it.
And what are you going to use for your next check?
So I guess an out of character question first, because it's the role that I most want to use, but it's also kind of a meta thing depending on what sort of information would be available to me in character. I don't know how reasonable it would be for me to suspect supernatural means, or if I would have any knowledge of that sort of thing at all. Because I would like to use Arcana out of character, because just the whole situation of like someone seeing me when I wasn't there and like these bear cut wounds upstairs, So but I don't know if it'd be something in character that I would even be able to know or think to look for.
One thing you can do, because Arcana is very specific, like it's something that only witches or shaman would have any like knowledge about, or somebody who'd worked with those individuals. You could use a spiritism check, because spiritism also encompasses like folklore and like story and tradition, and that would make sense that you maybe heard some of that in your line of work. But it's practically the same thing, just dealing more with like the native folklore aspect of it.
Okay, yeah, I mean, either way, is that just an intelligence?
Yeah, it's just intelligence.
All right, so that's going to be a 17 then for that one.
You remember a story, and it kind of tickles the back of your mind. Where did you hear this story? It's a tribal story.
So I remember you saying back when we did the session 0 that like the further south you go, the more common that mystical occurrences are.
Yeah, the more superstitious they become. Yeah.
And I think that because he kind of came up in central Providence, and I think he probably had something came up where for some reason he had to go like out of central Providence to investigate. Like a lead like went like way out of their way, or like somebody fled the town and they went to give chase. And it led him down further south where things like this are more likely to happen. And they actually interviewed one of the tribal people down there about something, because he was like a witness or something. And the story that he gave at the time was just like crazy, magic story. And it was like I wasn't even sure that I believed him when he told me, but for some reason it's coming back to mind now, and I can't help but think about it.
Yeah, you remember this the old man who you kind of spoke to. It was a normal Providencer, a southern Providencer, who heard a story from a huntsman, who heard a story from a old man tribesman, who heard a story from his grandmother, who heard a story from, et cetera, down the line, until it found its way to you. And you thought that this man was crazy or drunk or something at the time. But he told you the story of a group of hunters who went off into the woods, who were hunting bears, or what they believed were bears at the time. And one of the men with them wasn't from the town. He just volunteered to go with them. And the huntsman, he told you that this group of men, as they went out hunting, as they went hunting these bears, they kind of got like trapped up in this like cave because it started to like a sandstorm picked up, so they were kind of stuck out there. And one by one, people kind of just like somebody would go out and they wouldn't come back. And somebody would go out and they wouldn't come back until finally there were just like 4 of them sitting around this fire, kind of trying to wait out the storm. They're low on food. They have no food left. And that night while they're sleeping, the one gets up and he swears, this huntsman who heard it from, so-and-so down the line, the person swears that he saw him turn into this like giant furry creature, this monster. And as it was killing one of the other men, he stood up and he took his dagger and he tried to stab it. And it was an old dagger given to him by his grandfather. It was kind of silvered. And he said it burnt the beast, and the beast ran away, and the other 3 lived to escape and survive another day. But you remember this story, and you kind of think about this, and how the man changed, and how he wasn't himself, but he became this creature. He looked like anybody else, but he became this creature, and how silver burnt him, and he was furry, and he tore people apart like a bear would. You remember all this?
Yeah, like think back on this story and how at the time he like laughed at this man's face, and ridiculed him for making up such incredible and stupid stories. But like he can't help but like in this now moment of personal crisis, you turn to things that you might not believe otherwise to save yourself when things are on the line. It becomes much easier to let yourself believe. And you can't help but think back and wonder if you let that person off too harshly before, and if somehow, some way, something like that might explain what's happening here.
Yeah, you're kind of mulling all of this over, and as you're kind of like standing, looking out the window, this broken window, you would see down in the street where there's like a very thick pool of blood. Kind of now in like the daylight, you can see that there's like this thick blood on the ground, and then like kind of footsteps moving off in a direction that would have been easy to miss at night. Do you think maybe the pursuers had missed from the 4 culprits?
Yeah. Malcolm like knows that he's got basically all he's gonna get here. Like the story that's told in the bodies and the blood is only a partial one. And he thinks that if he's going to make any ground, that he's gonna have to find the people who did this, or at least the people who are suggested to have done it alongside him. And he's going to go back downstairs. Again, very cautiously, calmly, slowly make his way out of the ground floor of the saloon, not to disturb the barkeep, who I'm
The
sure
barkeep's
will
passed
shudder.
out in the corner. She drank way too much.
Yeah, he'll like edge his way like out of the hallway and like into the main room, like extremely slowly to not alarm her, and then like see that she's completely gone and just like, ugh. And then shrug and make his way back outside, past Shane and Ryder.
Yeah, they kind of just look at you. You see they look incredibly bored. They're like leaning on their rifles and kind of like leaning against the wall. Kind of just you see that they've got like a decanter of like some alcohol they're passing between the 2 of them. Drinking on duty, probably shouldn't, but the rules are lax in this town.
Yeah, he won't say anything because he knows he's on a thin line already with these people and in general. And while normally he might poke fun or tell them to put it away, he doesn't want to throw anything off right now. So he'll just walk right on by. And unless they specifically reach out to him, we'll follow this like pool of blood that he sees to these footsteps and try to make his way.
Yeah, as you reach the pool of like this dried blood kind of in the sand, roll me a perception, investigation.
That is a 15.
Yeah, you're able to follow it very easily. You also find kind of the spent bullet casing on the ground, made of silver, surprisingly. And then you kind of like pick it up and like roll it over in your hand. Like, who would make their bullet out of silver? You think back on this story, and you're like, maybe somebody else knew something.
Yeah, it's like it's like when you like think of somebody's name and then out of nowhere, and then you like run into them at the store or something. It's just like these like incredible coincidences of like thinking of this story about these creatures that are hurt by silver, and then you see it on the ground. It's like it doesn't make sense, but at the same time, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It's like not possible to describe the feeling of it. So like actually pick it up and take it with him, just in case,
Okay.
before following up on the trail.
Yeah, you can pick it up easily, kind of palm it, and slip it in your pocket, and follow this blood trail. It kind of leads you to like a little, like an abandoned shanty home. You find the blood kind of caked and smeared on the walls there. Whoever this is very obviously heavily injured. Speaking of which, Jack, I'm going to need you to make me 3 con saves.
Perfect. Natural 1.
Okay.
21.
Okay.
13. Is that all you needed?
Yeah, only 3. Okay, you're still holding on. For a second there, August and Eddie, you got really scared because his breathing stopped. But he started to breathe again after you guys get like a little bit of emergency CPR, and
Once
so he's
the
okay for now.
lycanthropy kicked in.
What?
Once the lycanthropy kicked in.
Yeah, exactly. He starts to change before you're right. So yeah, okay. So we're gonna. Okay, so you find all this blood, Malcolm, and you're able to start following it towards the north of town, making your way, towards the northern end of the rat's nest. We're gonna switch back over to August and Eddie and Jack for now. You guys you guys have just barely reached the northern end of town after a couple of detours by Eddie, who got lost along the way, avoiding both the unsavory, desperate individuals who were on the streets and the band of people hunting you from the saloon. But you make it to the northern end of town. You see that it kind of immediately becomes cleaner, like very clean. And you start seeing like all of these kind of like symbols all over the place. Eddie, you with your Beal heritage can determine immediately that they are these like tribal symbols, like medicine symbols, and like for luck and like for all sorts of different things, like prayers to the gods, all sorts of different things that are kind of like all over these walls. And you immediately know that you are in like whose territory you're in, essentially.
Finally, he says to himself, mutters under his breath. Getting close now. And he probably wouldn't point out these symbols. He'd just take note of them himself and sort of use them to guide them towards where they're trying to find this medicine man.
And you speak tribal Beal, right?
Yes.
Cool. Well, that's perfect because you can identify the little innuendos in the words that are hidden within the words. So go ahead and roll me an intelligence, just a flat intelligence check to see what you remember about the language and these like little slang words.
14.
14. You would see kind of hidden within kind of one of these symbols is this like very simple like laughing face. You know that Ahanu means he that laughs. And like as you look at this, you see that the symbol is kind of placed around it is a word that means it means 2 things. It means water and wind. So basically, he that laughs is at the place of water and wind.
And he would see that, interpret that as in his hopeful state after having trudged for so long, that this is hopefully finally the place they've been looking for. So is that on the side of one particular building, or is that?
Yeah, it's on the side of one of these shanty buildings. You see it's kind of like painted on there with like all sorts of different like, you see that it's like a mix of like white, blues, and like reds, as it's kind of like painted on the side of this building.
We're here. He'd give Jack a slap on the face, like a tap, try and get him to be as much at his senses as he can be. You ready to meet these people? Says to August.
Yep. Let's get this mess over with.
Should
Went
be able
out
to.
to prove ourselves innocent. Feel like we just dug ourselves deeper into a hole. I'm out here digging holes, fucking falling into them, climbing out, and falling back in.
Jumping from one burning building and into another. Well, that's just the way of this town, ain't it? We ain't done yet. Come on, let's bring him in.
Yep. Mom's falling asleep. He's fucking heavy.
Yeah, so you kind of start moving through the town, trying to find where this place of wind and water is. You see that there are various kind of tribal people moving through kind of this town. You know, this is their area of the town. They kind of like look at you weirdly as you kind of walk through, carrying this obviously like very bloody, half alive man between you. They would kind of like see the bloody man, and like immediately like book it away. You see people looking at you out of windows, out of doorways, and they shut them immediately the moment they make eye contact. You see children kind of watching you from these shadowed alleyways, kind of like trying to figure out what you're doing here. One of them approaches you, Keel, and looks up at you kind of strangely and speaks to you in tribal and says, "Do you know what I'm saying?"
Hearing this, Eddie turns and looks around and looks down, seeing that it was a child. Gives him a crooked smile and replies in the Beol tribal language. A little. What's your name, child?
My friends call me Boda, but my real name is Boda Way. Who are your friends? And you can tell that he's not asking who your people are that are with you, but it's something deeper than that. Roll me a traditions check.
Well, that's a nat one.
Okay. You don't know how to respond. You assume that he's actually just talking about the people who are with you.
Yeah, so he'd start responding in the Beol tribal language. This here is Jack. This here is August.
The boy frowns and doesn't say anything. Obviously, you answered wrong. What are you looking for? Yeah, if you speak general, you can only pick up on bits and pieces of what they're saying because they're speaking in Beol specific. So it's like there's all sorts of slang and they say things differently in it.
Yeah, so he doesn't speak the language often, but it is actually tribal Beol, which he only speaks. He doesn't actually speak the general one.
Yeah, sorry, I'm talking to August. My bad. Should have specified.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I see. Yeah, so who am I looking for? Medicine Man. Ahanu. I come to the right place?
And the boy frowns. Depends. Who are you?
My name's Eddie. Eddie Morton. My grandmother was a medicine woman herself.
The boy kind of shakes his head. You've answered wrong again. No. Who are you?
I'm the man who tries to get enough water to the people who need it.
The boy kind of like looks at you, and he looks over your features and looks you up and down, and slowly nods. My mom has told me about you. Do you know where to look for the man who laughs?
He just kind of looks around in the hut that they're in, or the huts nearby. Maybe you can help me with that, Boulder.
I can't show you where he is unless you know where to look.
And he thinks back to that symbol on the outside. In the water and the wind.
That is right. And he smiles and turns around and grabs your hand, and he waves to some of the other children. They come running out, and they kind of surround you, and they're kind of like jumping like around you and like playing games with you as they kind of walk, and he kind of leads you. Boda leads you
August
through the
checks his
town.
pockets.
What?
August checks his pockets.
Yeah, you check your pockets. They don't steal anything.
He knows that like kids in other parts of the town, like they'll steal your shit, try to distract you, but thankfully finds that nothing's been taken, so he'd relax a little more.
Yeah. But they lead you along, kind of moving through the town. You see the people, now that all the kids are surrounded, now that they've accepted you, the kind of community is like looking at you now, and the community livens up. It becomes alive again. People kind of moving through the streets, moving their wares about kind of to little town squares where they can sell them. They kind of smile at you and make eye contact with you now. And the children, Boda would lead you to like the very center of the north section of town, where he stops in this large open courtyard and looks down at his feet. And as you look down, you'd see that there's a large metal plate that's kind of half covered by the sand. And he kind of looks down. You can find the laughter down there.
He smiles as he looks around at all the kids, who have been bringing their own laughter. Thank you kindly, Boulder. And all of you.
And they would all kind of like smile and nod and start moving off. And Boda would like, as you kind of like start moving this metal thing out of the way, this like plate, he would kind of look at you and say, "Don't upset him, or else he won't help." And he kind of just nods to you and moves off, letting you guys kind of clear the way. You move the metal plate. You lower your friend Jack down into there and climb down after him, sliding the plate back into place. And you find yourselves in a section of the sewer. It's like been very cleaned out. It's actually very nice and livable. There's no water moving through here, though there once was. And as you enter kind of this area, you feel the wind kind of rushing through, as you know that it used to empty out into the pit. So the air kind of like funnels through here, kind of creating this whistling sound. And as you kind of glance about, you would see there are kind of like symbols kind of showing you which way to go. And as you turn, kind of moving your way deeper into the sewer, that is where we take a break. So go ahead and go get a drink, go to the bathroom. We'll be back here in 7 minutes. Sound good? Okay.
Cool. Oh boy. Man, some of this is so intense.
Heck.
I'm gonna turn to werewolf, calling it.
Yep.
Werewolf
It wouldn't be
Bull
a Tyler game
confirmed.
if there wasn't like a forced change of being.
We've talked him out of doing possessions, but he's gone like the next step down.
Yeah, full on transformations.
Yeah, he's not gonna like take control, but you're still gonna dramatically change. You know, can't go fully away from the pattern.
I mean, as long as I can control it, I don't see how it's anything but a buff. You know.
It's the closest you'll come in Providence to a Goliath, right? The strength of a werewolf.
Yeah, can I lift twice as much weight now, Tyler?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the secret, is if you want to give Corey some sort of affliction, as long as it has the fact that he can lift and drag as if he were a size larger, he'll take anything, no matter how dire the other circumstances are.
How strong am I? Oh, I don't care about the drawbacks.
Doesn't matter.
Ravenously devour everyone you know and love.
That's a perk.
Yeah, I was surprised he didn't use the Devil's Deal so he could carry something that was a size larger. I thought that was for sure what he was going to do with it.
Dude, I should have.
Whatever.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, whatever. Oh,
I want
man.
to be the strongest man in the world. That would be the deal.
The strongest man in the world. Okay, well, even if you were the strongest man in the world, the strongest man in the world in Providence can't actually carry something that's a size larger than him. So
Yeah, I was gonna say Jack probably is the strongest man in the world.
Maybe I'll go with like as strong as the 10 strongest men in the world.
that might work. We'd see. We'd have to see though.
That's cool.
All right.
I'm about to get werewolf powers, so we're good.
Whatever. Dude, you freaking wish, man. I almost gave you a disease.
Nah.
You were gonna get some like horrible like shingles or something like that.
Does it come with any extra powers?
Extreme pain. That's your extra power.
No, I already got that one.
Extreme pain and flaking skin. There you go. All right, let's go ahead and do character and plug whatever you want to, channel, whatever. We'll start with Corey, and then we'll go to Dan, then Jeff, and then end with Keel. Start with you, Corey. Go.
This is Corey, the paraplegic who has joined the game from his bed because he's all fucked up. But happy to be here and be in a Tyler Hurst game. Also, 100% going to be a werewolf. I'm excited.
Hashtag you die. Okay, going on to Dan.
I am also excited for the inevitable betrayal of the werewolf. I'm Dan. I play August Boone. He's a frickin'... He's a bastard, but he's a lovable bastard, and he does funny things sometimes. I don't have any plugs, so that's where I'll end it there.
Go ahead, Jeff. Yeah, there will be no werewolf. This is not D&D 5e Faerun.
Say all this time we've been saying that this disease role that he's making is like to this lycanthropy, but in reality it's probably just like, oh well, you have cholera now. Have fun.
Yeah, he's got like extreme rabies.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm Jeff. I have a YouTube channel where I run games and do some other content. It's called Encounter Balance. I also do a podcast slash live show with my friends Jeremy, Lily, and Chad Nick called The Dudes of Yore. So you can check out all my stuff at either of those places if you're so inclined. And I am just joining in on session 2 here. Unfortunately, could not make the last one, but I'm happy to be here now. And I am playing Malcolm Chase, a peacekeeper recently transferred up to this area to prove his salt and see if he can ascend the ranks from peacekeeper up into sheriff and kind of gather some reputation for himself. It's not going super well so far, considering that he has murder allegations and not reputation. So we'll see how it turns out. I'm sure it'll go great.
Yeah, things can only go up, I'm sure. Hey everyone, I'm Keel. I'm playing Eddie Morton, a chap with some native heritage, Beole tribal blood, and he is in with the Preston family, which is the family that controls the water in this town of High Hope. And he also has done work as a sort of monster hunter, so to speak. He has experience dealing with supernatural stuff, and that's probably part of some of the duties that he's done for the Preston family. And what he really wants is for there to be less of a divide between the poor and the rich in this town. And he's gradually trying to wheel and deal as best he can to make that happen and try and look out for the small folk. Also not going so well.
Yeah, for sure. As always, if you're watching the game, it's on my channel. That's On a Roll, ROE, like roleplay. Hey, Corey didn't copy me this time. That's amazing. Yeah, I'm happy to be running this game. I love Providence. It's my baby setting. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get right back into it. The plume of dust and smoke, or I guess of dust and dirt, gets closer, August, as your little prison wagon reaches the other side of the ravine. You see that Bart and Carson still haven't noticed, and they are obviously very, very oblivious, expendables, as you will. And they kind of pull off, kind of stopping the prison wagon right up next to the pit. They would kind of hop down out of the seat, kind of check their shotguns. Carson would toss his shotgun over to Bart and kind of reach into the this compartment and pull out the war club. Yeah, that's fine. And pull out the war club, kind of making his way with Bart towards the back of the wagon. You hear him shouting from the other side, "Don't try no funny business now. We'll kill you just the same. Whether it be by club or shotgun, make no difference." And you hear keys kind of starting to rattle in the back of the wagon. What are you doing?
Well, he already pointed out the riders to everybody else.
So, oh yeah, the riders, yeah.
Yeah. So they're going for the keys to like let us out of this cage right now.
Yeah, it looks like they're unlocking one of the doors to the back of this wagon to let you out one by one.
One by one, you say?
Well, that's at least the goal.
Yeah, no. We're not like chained down, right? We're just
No, you're not chained down. Just your hands are manacled.
Jack would try and break the manacles, like smashing them against like the bench or something that he's on.
You start trying to smash the manacles.
Yeah, he'd give it at least a good shot or two.
Okay,
real simple, idiot.
give me athletics.
15 plus 7, 22.
Yeah, you kind of start slamming the manacles on the ground. You find this like lip of wood. You kind of like wedge them under, and you put your foot on top of them and start pulling. And the links are solid. The manacles, the chain links are solid. But as you pull, you see one of your thumbs kind of give way and dislocate and slip out of the manacle. You pulled so hard you dislocated your own thumb, but you freed your hand in the process.
Perfect. Did you do like a survival check to get my thumb back in place?
Yeah, sure.
All
Go ahead.
according to
Give me
plan.
medicine.
19 plus -1, 18.
You pop it back into place. Roll me a Constitution saving throw as the pain just washes over you.
Oh, 6.
You promptly vomit all over the floor of the wagon. As your head spins, you get really dizzy, and you with a deafening, like you feel your thumb pop back into place as you just spew. I'm gonna roll a d4 to see you spew all over. Right as the back of the wagon opens, just this wave of vomit just hits Carson in the face. He just like falls back away from you. You have, by accident, created quite the distraction.
Get him!
And,
He jumps out.
yeah, Jack realizing this is kind of his moment where he needs to contribute. Like, even though he's dizzy, he just kind of like stumble out of the back of the wagon and like fall on top of him.
Okay. He has a prepared attack with the club if any of you tried anything. So he's going to attack you as you fall out of the back of the wagon. That is a 19 to hit. That's going to hit you.
Oh, yeah.
He hits you in the side with the club for 9 points of damage. You feel like the stone just like crack against your ribs. You hear a snap. He probably broke one of them. And as you kind of fall out, see if he's fast enough. He gets out of the way. You don't land on top of him. He hits you in the side, and you fall just like out. You see Bart raise the shotgun as the rest of you come charging out. Who's next?
That would be me.
Okay, as you come charging out of the back of the wagon, he's
Go
going
to
to unload
grapple
both
him if I
barrels on
can.
you.
Ah, fuck.
Oh, that's a nat 20.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a nat 20 and a 22 to hit.
Yeah, they both hit.
That's going to hurt real bad, dude. Crits hurt in Providence.
Do I have anything that I can use against that?
Friggin' Jeff. That's going to be 24 points of damage for the crit.
Oh, shit.
And the other barrel of the shotgun is going to do another 17.
Oh my god. He almost killed me in 2 shots.
Did he knock you out?
No. I have 7 health left.
Okay, so that's 41 points of damage to you. And he's going to start like cursing under his breath and reloading the shotgun. He's going to reload it, kind of just like flip open the barrels as he puts 2 new cartridges in it. You see that we're going to enter real combat now, so go ahead and roll me initiative.
So the puking didn't actually give us any advantage?
It's going to make it so that he has disadvantage on attacks on his turn because it's in his eyes and his face.
I thought we would have the surprise, which is why I attacked.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not that giving.
You were wrong, sir.
Wrong.
11.
Need to read up the fine print on the vomit mechanics there, my man.
Yeah, dude, you gotta read it.
It's in the book.
Roll
You
to
gotta
steal.
hash that out, Tyler. It's a little wonky.
Roll and make me a ranged missile attack with your to spew.
Are you proficient? Are you proficient in?
Are you
vomit
proficient in
attacks?
the untap? Oh man, he's got a nat 20 on my vomit roll.
Oh, gets him right in the face and burns his eyeballs out. Sulfuric acid, man.
What's your
dude.
initiative, Corey?
11.
11. Okay.
Dude, that's the tech. Acid splash, reflavored.
Yeah, poison spray.
Yeah, poison spray or acid splash. Either one works.
Carson got a nat 20.
Oh, fuck this guy.
24.
He was the one that got vomited on, wasn't he?
Yeah. You got 24 Carson, 22
He's pissed.
August, 16 Bart, 13 Malcolm, 11 Jack, and 11 Eddie. Okay, Carson's like wiping at his face, just like yelling like and he's like screaming. He's gonna take. He's gonna use his action to actually wipe his face off, and clear the vomit out of his eyes and just kind of like spit whatever landed in his mouth out. As he's kind of just like wiping and wiping. And that'll be Carson's turn. August, you're lying on the ground just like full of lead.
He fucking gets up, second wins. And he's gonna go for the bow and arrow in the underneath the seat.
So you're gonna just turn around and dash around the cart towards the bow and arrow?
Yes.
Okay. That's gonna be an attack of opportunity from Carson.
Do I want to do that? He has a gun, right?
Carson's the one with the war club.
I thought he had a shotgun.
That's Bart.
So I thought I jumped at Bart.
I don't think you specified who you jumped at.
Oh.
Carson's the one who got vomited on. He had the war club. Bart's the one with the shotgun who was standing back.
Oh, he was standing back. Okay. Fuck. I'll take the opportunity attack.
Okay. That is an 18 to hit.
God damn it.
He deals 13 points of damage to you.
And I'm down already.
Okay, yeah, you turn and you start to run, and this stone mallet just hits you in the back of the head.
I second winded. Let me see how much health I get.
Oh, yeah.
I did that first.
Yeah, I know. You declared it. I know. Did you never actually roll for health?
No, I didn't.
You just said I second win.
I second win first, and then I was like, all right, hopefully he doesn't hit me, but he hit me. So let me see how much I get back. All right. I get 12 back, so I had 19.
So he hit you for 13, so you got 6 hit points.
I have 6 health. All right. All right, so he takes that opportunity attack. He runs to the front and lifts up the riding chair and goes for the bow and arrow.
Yeah, there's a bow and a quiver of like 5 arrows in it.
All right. He is going to action surge and go for the man with the shotgun.
I think it's a bonus action to action surge.
No.
You already used your second wind.
Action surge is just you declare
It's
it.
just
And
a
it has
free
the
extra
thing.
action.
You can do.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to do that, and I am going to expend grit to shoot more during... Oh, I already used my bonus action, so I can't do that. I'll use a grit to add additional weapon damage if I hit here.
Okay.
So he attacks twice. He's action surging. Fuck. Okay. Got a 19 plus the 8 from my dex and archer fighting style. And then a 17 all up on the second one.
Both hit.
Okay, so first one gets that extra weapon die. 8, 7 plus 3. So that's 18 on the first one.
He's barely standing.
And then I guess I'll focus on him again since he's not dead. 8 on the second one.
Yeah, okay, this on Bart?
Yeah, he's the one with the gun, so he would focus on trying to kill him.
Yeah, Bart kind of goes down under 2 of these arrows, one protruding from his chest and one protruding from his throat.
I've killed better men for less, you fuck! As he shoots him twice with an arrow.
Okay.
And that's his turn.
Okay. Yeah, so he goes down. Bart kind of collapses. You see Carson kind of look down, and he is going to kind of kick the gun backwards so none of you guys can grab it. And it is going to be Malcolm's turn. You still have to get out of the back of the wagon.
Yeah, Malcolm will like see the chaos, and like his first instinct would be just like, well, technically we are like held under the law, so we shouldn't. But then by the time that all this has happened, it's just utter insanity. so he'll just take advantage of the chaos, and like leap out of the wagon.
Okay, he's got another opportunity attack prepared, so he's gonna swing it at you.
Yep. Well, didn't he already use his reaction this turn?
But he had another turn. He had to use the turn to wipe away the vomit, and now
But
we took the
August just went, and he took an opportunity attack against August. So that was his reaction.
That's right. He did, didn't he? Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So he'll like see him like swing the club and like hit August with it, and like he'll know that that's his moment, like his peacekeeper training kicking in. He'll dive past and just like roll onto the ground, like skidding through the dirt, grab the shotgun over Bart's body out of his hand, and just bring it up at Carson, and he'll just yell, "Friend's already dead. We have you surrounded. Lay down your weapon."
It needs to be reloaded, by the way.
Didn't he reload it?
He started to as a bonus action.
I thought you said he loaded it after he shot me twice.
Okay, well then it's loaded, I guess. I don't remember. If I did, then it's loaded.
That's what you said. If that's not actually how
it's loaded. Then it's loaded.
Then it can be unloaded.
Okay, never mind. It's loaded. It's fine.
Yeah, so he'll just yell, "Put around the weapon. We have you outnumbered, and I have a gun."
You see Carson like turn around and look at you, this big beefy pugilist brawler, and he looks down at Jack lying on the ground before him, and then he looks up towards August, who's aiming the bow at him, and he looks past August, and you see him like looking, and his eyes widen, and he turns and starts to run.
I'll catch his curious glance and then remember what August had said earlier and follow his gaze to see what I see.
You see 20 mounted Neil warriors moving down upon you.
Mounted, so there's no way that we can run. So I'll just like put the gun not away, but like so that I'm not holding it in a firing position to like not look threatening. And just like kneel down with like the barrel side pointed down and just like hold the gun in my arms. There's no way we can get away from that, he'll say out loud.
Jack, you kind of filter back into consciousness, lying in a pile of your own vomit.
Yeah, Jack doesn't notice the riders, and so he would like try and grab Carson's leg and like knock him off balance and try and keep beating him up.
Go ahead and give me a grapple check. Oh, he got a nat 20. He's fine.
17.
Yeah, he just like kicks your foot away and just starts running.
Fuck you, you bastard!
You see Malcolm go down on his knees and kind of like put his hands behind his head.
Well, go on, shoot him.
Yeah, Malcolm will just like shake his head no.
Is he
I
running?
don't know what these people.
Who, Carson?
Yeah, Carson.
Yeah, Carson's
booking,
running.
yeah.
He's bailing.
Oh yeah, then fucking Boone would definitely shoot him. He doesn't want him going back and telling his handlers that we got away.
Okay. We'll get to you in a second. Eddie, what are you doing?
So Eddie hasn't yet exited the carriage, actually.
Yeah, you're still in the wagon.
Still in the wagon, yeah. So he peers out. Obviously, this has all happened very quickly. He hasn't even had a chance to quite get out yet. But he looks over towards the dust cloud and the approaching riders. How far away are they? Like, can they already sort of clearly see what we're doing and how many of us are here from their distance?
From their distance, yeah, you see they've kind of honed in on you guys. They're maybe like 100 feet out.
Okay, so probably too late to try and flip it and pretend that some of us are the captors for some of the others and try some deception there. They already sort of see what's going on here.
Yeah, they've kind of seen the commotion. They heard the gunshots.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I think Eddie would he would try and stop Carson from getting away as well. So I think maybe he'd bust out of the back of the wagon. His hands are still in the manacles, so I imagine he sort of like swings off the exit and sort of kicks through a little bit, lands on the ground, and then rushes to try and catch up and tackle Carson.
Okay, give me a opposed grapple.
Ooh,
I got a 19 for him. What'd you get?
11.
Okay. And you kind of like start like grabbing at his legs, and he kind of just like stiff arms you off of him, just pushing you to the ground as you try and like tackle him. And it's gonna be his turn, and he's gonna dash action and just take off across the bridge. The Neol are gonna go on the same turn, and they'll dash their horses. Like 17 of them stop directly near you guys, and 3 of them continue after Carson. You see them, one of them just club him over the back of the head as they ride past, and the other like kind of spears him in the back with a horse spear, while the other one kind of just hops off and starts to like take the knife and like cuts his throat open, before they kind of like pull him back and like toss him over the back of the horse and turn around and ride back to you. And now there are 20 of these Neol warriors looking down at you. You see they're covered in like war paint, like reds and whites. It's kind of like a deeper, like kind of like a brown red though. Definitely some sort of clay mixed into it. They're kind of looking down at you. One of them is very intricately adorned. You see that his paintings are like white, black, and red. You see that on his horse, like a shield, is kind of this leather rawhide shield he's kind of carrying on his arm, and this long war lance. And he's kind of like got across the saddle of, well, like it's the back of his horse. They're not riding on saddles. But you see the kind of painted on the face of his shield is like this picture of like a white horse, a lightning bolt. It turns into a lightning bolt at the back of it. And kind of over the horse, like in stripes, are red and black. And the horse has red fiery eyes. And he kind of looks down at you as you're all kind of like kneeling or like standing before him. August, you look super bloody. He kind of like cocks his head to the side of you and looks at the bow you're holding, which is obviously of Neol make.
With deference, he would say, my name is August Boone in Tribal.
He looks at the other warriors around him and says, "Oh, this one speaks like child."
Yes, he says. Thank you for saving me the arrow and killing that pathetic dirtbag.
And they kind of just all look at each other. He kind of frowns and looks down at you and says, "Why do you not kneel?"
I said he would refer to him in deference. So
okay, yeah. So you get down on your knees then, and he kind of like looks at like at the 3 of you. Jack still lying in the dirt. You lying where you failed to tackle him, Eddie, and oh my gosh, what is your freaking name? Malcolm, who's kneeling on the ground. And he kind of like looks to the rest of his comrades and kind of like climbs down off of his horse, leaving the lance buried in the dirt and kind of like approaching you. And that's where we kind of swap back into the city 3 days ago. You arrive kind of following this trail and asking around to the people who are kind to you in this rat's den, Malcolm. And you found your way all the way up to this northern sector. And this is like the one group of people who don't treat you poorly, but they don't treat you well either, like the other poor people do. Because they have this like, I don't know, like they act like normal people here. Like they don't act in any sort of deferential way. So they kind of like look at you as you kind of enter, and you get the same awkward stares the other people did when they first entered this part of the city.
Yeah, he's used to getting these sorts of glances. It's much worse in other places, so he would still be comfortable with just sidelong glances.
Yeah, you lose the trail here because people won't tell you or speak to you openly anymore. You're gonna have to do some more investigation, however you wish to try and track these people.
Yeah, I'll kind of like look down to see where the trail stops. And
Yeah, the trail stops to your surprise because the sand has been swept away. It looks as if somebody has covered the tracks here where the other people forgot.
yeah, I think he would probably walk up to whoever was closest. Like approach not too close, still kind of keep 4 or 5 feet away.
And you see this woman look up at you. She's kind of sitting on like the front, like you see that like her door is open, and she's kind of sitting in like the center of this room, what is like her like living room essentially, and you see she's kind of like weaving this rug of some kind.
Yeah, he'll kind of like knock politely on the frame of the door to get her attention.
And she would like look
Ma'am.
up startled and see you kind of standing there and like slowly lower the rug and kind of tilt her head quizzically.
If you don't mind, I'd like to ask you a couple quick questions.
She kind of frowns. I'm gonna have her roll to see if she understands you super well. As you're speaking common, right? Or what the equivalent of common
Yeah.
is here,
Uh-huh.
which is Providence, or is what
I
it's
don't
called.
think I
Yeah.
speak much else, yeah.
Yeah, she kind of nods, and you see that she understands, but she doesn't fully understand. Like she understands you're gonna ask her some things, but she doesn't understand like who you are or what you're doing.
Yeah, seeing that she's not super fluent in the language, he'll try to kind of simplify his speech a little bit. Know that he has to kind of be more specific with what he says. And kind of like using like hand gestures too. Like, I need to find 3 people. And then he'll like kind of like as best as he can in shorthand, like describe what the 3 people look like. That one of them, using basically the descriptions that he had read from the paper, just like simplifying that down as best he can into simple words.
Roll
to
me.
describe.
Roll me. What would be a good thing for this? Roll me a traditions check using your wisdom modifier.
Okay, I don't think I have that. So it's a
Traditions is
14.
intelligence. So if it's just flat wisdom then, if you don't have that.
Okay, 14.
Okay, she seems to kind of understand what you're saying, and she goes like 3, and then she kind of says like she kind of puts her hand over her and goes like no, like not me, like, and then she points at a man and goes like that, like 3 men.
Yes.
She shakes her head
hurt,
as if she doesn't
I'll say.
know. Roll me insight.
19 on the die.
She's lying. She saw something.
Yeah, and Malcolm will kind of drop the like the visage of authority, seeing that he'll that's not going to get him anywhere, and kind of look with a much more sincere expression of like one that a person who like genuinely needs help and that this is important. Hey, please, it's very important.
Roll
One
me
of them is hurt.
persuasion.
I need to find them. Yeah. Um, no.
Did you
That's
get
a 6.
a 6?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she got a 5. So, she looks at you and like she doesn't fully trust you, and she turns to the side and kind of starts like shouting something, and you see a boy come running in, and he looks at you like with like a strange look, and like walks up to his mother, and they start talking back and forth, and he steps up to you and says, "Who are you?"
My name is Malcolm. I'm a peacekeeper, I'll say.
And he looks outside, and you see everything's dirty, and like broken, and he looks towards like the rich part of the town. He says, "For a peacekeeper, you don't seem to be keeping much peace."
Seems that there's more trouble than there is peacekeepers. It's difficult. We try our best. At least I do.
And he kind of looks back at his mother and looks back at you. My mom says you're looking for 3 people, 3 men. Why?
There was a problem down at one of the saloons. Their descriptions match people that were there. It's very important that I ask them some questions so that I can understand what happened. They may be in danger.
Persuasion.
6.
Okay. You see he doesn't fully trust you. He's like looking at you funny. I know who you're talking about. They came through to see the Laughing Man.
And Malcolm's face will like kind of upturn at that, like he doesn't know what that means.
Are you gonna arrest the Laughing Man if I show you where they are? Your rich friends don't like him. You would know who the Laughing Man is, by the way. This kind of free practice healer that the higher ups, those rich families don't like because he's putting their like physicians and stuff out of business.
No, I will not arrest him. I have no reason to. And the rich people are not my friends. The only friend I have in here is the law. And even that, he'll just kind of like trail off and shake his head.
You're not being deceptive, are you?
No, it's genuine.
Yeah, yeah. So I rolled insight for him, and so you don't have to roll against him because you're not deceiving at all. And he kind of just slowly nods. Okay. And he kind of looks down at his mother, and they start speaking and travel back and forth again. And he says, "Come with me." And he kind of turns around and starts walking away.
Yeah, he'll follow along.
You see, he hasn't waved like he did for the other people, the other children, so they're all kind of like watching you as you walk past. It's very weird and eerie. Like these children just seem like they are way more in the know than most children should be. So they kind of like watch you as you kind of move through the streets with this boy, and he kind of leads you towards the center of the courtyard. And he looks up at you and he says, "Do you know where the Laughing Man is?"
Yeah, Malcolm won't even try. I'll just like shake his head. No.
"You don't look hurt. Why do you need to see him? Or is it just for these people you search for?"
Just for those people.
The boy slowly nods and says, "Don't make the Laughing Man angry." And he kind of looks down at the ground. You see there's a metal grate that's kind of been moved recently.
I don't plan to, he'll say, honestly.
And he kind of steps back off the metal grate and just nods to you and walks away.
Yeah, I'll lean down to the grate and pull it from whatever fitting that it's in.
Yeah, you see there's some blood stains on it from where somebody's bloody hand has touched it.
Yeah, he'll like nod, knowing that this is not some trick that those other people must have come. It would just be too coincidental for there to be fresh blood here outside of that, and he'll climb down.
Okay. Yeah, you go down, and the grate is slid back across the top of the hole, and you see that there are blood stains kind of on this dry portion of the sewer, kind of leading off to the right. You follow them, kind of moving between the different kind of sewage. Some of them are blocked off so that the nasty water is redirected, doesn't come through here, making this dry path that kind of makes its way all the way through until you arrive at this like completely dry cistern area where it would initially probably pool, where it would kind of come here before but it's all dried up. All the entrances to this part of the cistern have been blocked, and you see down, kind of in the center of this pit, that there's like a desk and there's like a bed and like all of these items that are kind of been set up, and you see lying on this bed Jack Grimshaw and two other men kind of talking to this older gentleman. We're going to switch over to them and give them a bit of time to chat before you show up. So you guys follow the markings, kind of moving through the sewer until you arrive at the same cistern I described. There's like a bed down there, a desk, like a chair, and like you see one of the walls is covered in like chalk and writing. You see that in the center of like the room, there's like this large kind of like, it was probably some rich person's like trunk once, but it's kind of been set up on top of like a bunch of stones, and now it's like filled with all sorts of like herbs and like vials of stuff, and there's like a little kind of pot that's kind of been like the entire like the inner lining that's like the fabricy stuff has been stripped from it, so it's just leather, and there's like a little cauldron kind of bubbling in the center of it. Kind of he lit a fire inside of the suitcase essentially. You see that the inside of this thing has been like covered in like clay, so it doesn't like when he lights this fire, it doesn't like burn the suitcase. And he's made this like little alchemist lab essentially. And you see this older gentleman, the old man, kind of well dressed. He's kind of wearing like a button-up shirt and like this little like a brown kind of suit coat, plain trousers, and he's kind of leaning over this. You see he's wearing these really nice black kind of leather shoes as he leans over this like this cauldron and kind of throws a little bit of something in it, kind of stirs it a bit, and without turning and looking at you, he says, "Did Boda bring you here?"
He did, grandfather.
That boy says too much. And he kind of turns around and looks at you, and then his eyes lock on Jack. Bring him down, bring him down. And he kind of like points over towards like an area where he's kind of piled up like a bunch of like dirt and like clay and stuff. It's a little ramp that kind of leads down into this area. So if you bring him down, he would help you get in bed. Go ahead.
You are the man who laughs?
Not much these days, but I used to be.
Well, thank you kindly for seeing us. We need your help. Boda was good to guide us down to you.
Healing and helping.
Won't take up too much of your time.
Of course, and healing and helping is one of the few things that makes me smile these days, so I'm more than willing to help. As long as you're not with those stupid noble house of people that believe that they're greater than everyone else. Honestly, being born into a family and having blood as theirs doesn't make you better. In my opinion, it makes you worse.
Surely gives them a skewed view on the world. Couldn't agree with you more.
And he kind of looks at you and just like slowly nods, seeing that you're better dressed than most people who live in the poor side of town, but kind of not making a big issue out of it, not making a huff out of it. He kind of help you lift Jack into this bed, and he kind of like pull aside this like ripped up sleeve from August, and he kind of like looks down at it and like winces. Roll me an insight check, August and Keel. I mean August and freaking Eddie.
I got a 21.
Okay.
Just 9 for Eddie because I've still got a level of exhaustion, so disadvantage.
Yeah, you guys are gonna get a short rest here as he starts to work on Jack. August, you see that he kind of winces at it, and he kind of prods at it, and you see him like recognition like dawn on his face. He knows something about this. And he kind of runs over to his case and he starts, like, he dumps out the cauldron into one of these gutters and starts stirring up something else. You're lucky you got him here when you did. Whatever bit him left a residue. And he kind of, like, starts, like, stirring and mixing. And you get the pungent aroma of antiseptic as he starts to, like, mix a bunch of, like, herbs and crap together.
What's that?
He You see him like grinding up a root, and he looks up at you and looks down at the root. Rotwort.
What's it for?
For removing malignant properties. And he kind of like grinds it up in his mortar and pestle and like pours it into the cauldron. You see him kind of reach across and kind of like fish through a couple bottles. And he pulls out this bottle of like this like greenish blue liquid, kind of pops the cork, smells it, and like, whoosh, and like pours a little bit of it in it, and like stoppers it again, sliding it back into place. You see him reach down beneath this like pile of stone. You see him kind of like root around, and he pulls out. You see him yank, and it comes out with like little white flour. You see him crush up the petals with his hand and kind of like put it in the mortar and pestle, grind it up, put a little water in it, and then pour it in as well. And it starts to like release this really, really pungent smell.
Yep. I'd call what almost did him in some malignant properties. Fucking made themselves look like us, and they grew fucking claws and teeth and.
Insight.
Well, you look what he looks like. You see what he looks like.
Insider perception.
I'll go for perception. Better at that.
From both of you.
16.
21.
Yeah, 21, perfect. Yeah, he visibly comes to a complete stop once you start describing what happened. And you see a look of fear and like surprise cross his face. Before he kind of like shakes it off and goes back to making this thing. He knows exactly what you're talking about.
Yep, got a few good hits on him, but shrugged him off. You seem like a man who knows things.
I don't know anything. And he kind of moves past you towards him and starts smearing this like brown and white paste all over your shoulder and neck where you got bit. Roll me con save, Corey.
15.
You wake up immediately, your eyes snapping open as pain just rips through your body. This stuff he's smearing on you, it stings and burns, but it's cleaning whatever happened to you throughout your body as well. Whatever malignant traces of this saliva was left on you, but it hurts. It hurts real bad. You don't pass out from the pain. You wake up and you stay awake.
Okay. So Jack would kind of flip out at first, not really knowing where he was or what happened. He calmed down a little bit and say, well, where the hell are we? Who are you?
He would just kind of look back at the two of you and let you guys explain as he goes back and starts mixing something else in his pot.
Somewhere safe. He's a Beal shaman. He's helping you.
Fuck, man. We figure out what the hell those things were. Y'all see what I saw?
Yeah, that's what we're asking about.
Don't know exactly what they were yet. Nothing natural. Well, nothing ordinary. At least we know they won't be trying to track us. They was running from us. It's others trying to find us we've got to worry about, I suppose.
He glances up at you, this Beal shaman, Ahanu. He glances up at you and his eyes narrow. They weren't running from you. If they saw you, they'll come back. And then he realizes he's had too much and goes back down to like stirring the cauldron.
The hell you mean they? You know what they are?
I know nothing. As he goes back to like stirring and mixing.
Listen,
Shit, liar.
we saw these things kill a dozen people. If you keep your mouth shut, some of that blood's on your hands, too.
He would kind of like look up at you in like fear and like look down at his hands. There's already so much blood on these hands. Want to help instead. Is that not enough? I'd rather heal than kill.
Well, you're in luck. We're highly specialized in, well, dealing with messes others don't want to clean up. You can focus on what you like to do. We'll focus on what we need to do. But we need help. Damn things took a buckshot straight to the back and kept running like it was nothing, like a gust of wind.
Eddie pulls out a fresh silver bullet, unused, and leans in towards the man. I think you do know more than you're willing to tell us right now, grandfather.
And he'd look at you. You already know that silver is strong against them. Why are you asking me?
I never seen these types before. I know silver's good against other types of these.
The hell types of what you talking about?
He kind of just looks over at the two of you.
Spit that shit out.
He looks over at August and Jack and looks back at you, Eddie. How much do they know?
Well, I guess they're about to find out a heck of a lot more.
They sit you down for the talk. Monsters are real, boy. No, he kind of looks up at you, Eddie, and kind of like, roll me persuasion.
I actually have a feature.
Oh?
Honeyed words.
Oh.
So I can roll persuasion and deception at advantage.
Oh.
Which I guess at this point just cancels it out to a normal roll for me with my exhaustion.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
If I succeed, I can use a bonus action to basically use charm person spell.
Yeah, give it to me, do it.
4 on the die, so
That's what I like.
I
think you have inspiration too. I think we all got.
Yeah, I've got it
on the last one.
Oh, it was at the end of it, was it? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
you
So
want
I got it on
everybody.
the sheet.
I gave you
Got it on the
mine,
sheet.
so I don't have one. But
All right. Well, if you're happy for me to re-roll,
Well, you could roll another one. Yeah, sure, go ahead.
oh well, that's an 8 on the die. Let's just have a quick look here. So that'll be 11 persuasion.
Okay, he kind of shuffles uncomfortably. It's not that he doesn't want to help. He just needs some persuading to. You know, as a Reaper, that once you get out of that life, you want to stay out of it for as long as possible. You don't want to get back into it. So he's kind of avoiding it here. But he kind of like frowns and like, you know he's visibly shaken from what you said that 12 people have died. And he kind of like frowns and just shakes his head. And he points over at like a small chest that's kind of right beneath the desk.
Yeah, silver bullet still in his fingers. Eddie would glance over at the chest and maybe gesture for August to go and open it up.
yeah, you do so.
Okay, yeah, as you walk over and kind of like pull it open, you'd see inside that there is a hunting rifle. There are 15 silver hunting rifle bullets. There is a small journal and a basically like 4 prepared Molotov cocktails. I've been hearing things in the networks I run through of something in this town, and he kind of goes back to like stirring the pot. I was prepared in such a case should something happen, but it looks like there's somebody who's already willing to take care of it for me, so I don't have to do anything. And he walks over to you, Jack, and he kind of offers you this little vial. It's filled with like a brownish red liquid, and he kind of like drink this. It smells like horse manure.
How exactly is this supposed to help me? I mean, I'm up and talking right now.
Drink the medicine. You see he's starting to get angry.
I think you should do what he says.
All right, if I die, it's on you, August.
You don't want to get no super rabies or some shit.
Super rabies.
Drinks it. Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe this guy's trying to fucking turn me into a monster, or I don't know, get me to die so he can harvest my body.
This is basically like a really crappy healing potion. So it's like 2d4 plus 2, but it's temporary hit points, not actual hit points. So these will go away in like an hour. It's like a really, really strong antiseptic. You're drinking morphine.
Perfect.
Yeah, it feels like all of your pain and like sorrows just wash away.
Oh, okay. So I'm high. Got it.
Yeah, basically. And about this moment, you hear footsteps on this like kind of surrounding terrace above you, the cistern above you, and a man wearing a peacekeeper badge walks out. You recognize him as the fourth man you saw that night, last night at the nest, as the fourth fourth creature.
Hey, quick! Somebody get him! He like starts to get up, kind of like stumble towards him. You ain't gonna run away from me now.
At the call of like somebody get him, Malcolm will like draw his revolver and like point it at you. Say, "Whoa, no one needs to be getting anybody."
I see a coward's weapon. You just kind of like fall over onto the ground.
Like see that this like man is clearly afflicted with something that's messing with him, and he'll just like shake his head, seeing that he's harmless right now.
Eddie will have drawn his
No.
revolver as well. The words of the laughing man ringing through his head, saying that those doppelgangers will find us. And Eddie suspects this might be one of the four that has come back and now found us.
Yep. Yeah, August has the rifle trained on you.
Now,
Who
there's no
are you?
reason that things have to get ugly. I just need to talk to you guys.
And so Jack's gonna actually like out of it, kind of use his spirit sight to kind of see if he looks like the other ones while he's laying there on the ground.
Yeah, dude, you've got this like crazy antiseptic in your system. You use your spirit sight at the same time. Dude, you're like tripping 3.0 right now. And as you're looking into like
She's double.
as you're looking to the above, below, between, and other, it's like you are looking at everything through a kaleidoscope of like being high and like seeing basically into the ethereal plane. And as you're looking up at him, you don't see the marks of like a bad spirit, essentially, but
Yeah.
you do see something looming in the below, looking back at you. And in that same instant, it's gone. Like you were tripping so hard, you were able to see something that you shouldn't have been able to see.
Oh shit. I look over at the shaman. Does he look normal too?
The shaman? Yeah, no, he's fine. He doesn't have like a spirit about him. He has an aura around him to let you know that he is connected to the realms.
So he'd be like, guys, he's good. Don't worry about him. Look at him with my special eyes. He's like got like orange, like glowing in his eyes. Just like it's okay.
All right. Still don't trust him though.
Yeah, you haven't told them what your power is. They don't even know that you can do this, dude. So you're just like, I trust him.
Specialize.
He's like, no, like
I can see the truth of my special eyes.
Bodies. And
August just thinks he's completely out of it, but you can see that he doesn't have his finger on the trigger actively. Who are you?
Name's
How the hell
Malcolm.
did you find us?
I'm a peacekeeper. I'm good at my job. That's how I found you.
All right,
I
fair enough.
have some questions for the three of you. It's very important.
And we didn't hear any of the doppelgangers speak, did we?
No, it
So
sounds like they growled and grunted. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, so this is a point of difference in Eddie's mind, as well as the way that he's moving and that. So he thinks that maybe this really is the man who that fourth doppelganger was taking the form of, and he would lower his revolver. I assume you know our names already, then, Malcolm.
I do. I've also been told that the three of you were allegedly involved in some pretty terrible things.
Heard the same about you.
I've heard the same about me too, which is the confusing part, considering I wasn't there that night.
Well, you see, there's like evil twin versions of us that can like, and they got sticky claws and stick you. They're out there, look just like us.
Yeah, that's about as concise as it could be, I'd say.
It's like normally, like Malcolm would be like, okay, so the person is like talking crazy shit to me, normal stuff. But the fact that he's like already recalled the story himself of something like this, like he won't discount it quite as quickly as he normally would, despite the how insane that it sounds. I think something strange is happening here. I'm being accused of something that I clearly didn't do. I wasn't even there. We see people ripped to shreds with what looks like bear claws.
Nah, that's some fucking werewolf vampire teeth shit.
We're dealing with werewolves mixed with vampires. Are you sure about that?
Werepires.
The old man slowly nods. I don't know what a vampire is. Vampires don't exist, dude. They're called other things, my friend. But there are misconceptions too. It's not necessarily a werewolf either. It's they're called Rougarou. Eddie, make me a check. A nature or spiritism or traditions or history or even religion, whichever you prefer.
It'll be 15 spiritism.
Spiritism. You've heard stories, actually, in your time working with reefers of Rougarou. Very difficult to kill, mainly because they're resistant to pretty much everything. Literally, the only thing you can do is like you know that they travel in packs. They're like wolves, but they can shapeshift and make themselves look like people. Anybody. They are. You have to hitting them with silver makes it so you do normal damage to them, not extra damage, just normal. And hitting the and burning them, fire is one of their biggest weaknesses. And there's debate about how to kill them, which you didn't roll high enough to know what, like, to permanently kill one, what you have to do. But you've heard of these things before.
I'd hoped it wasn't as I'd suspected, but Rougarou, what these things might be. He looks over to August. That explains the shotgun. Doing nothing. Wish I'd hit with that silver bullet. Maybe took one of them out instead of having a pack of 4 of them.
Hell, there might be more than 4.
Well, they do travel in packs. I have heard that.
Small packs, by the way. Never more than like 4 or 5.
Okay.
Yeah, so like, as you're relaying all of this, August, that journal is still sitting in the bottom of the chest, and as you look down at it, you see that based off your very slight understanding of tribal, it says something about the like spirits. It's talking about like the spirits that enter the bodies of men is the best way you can translate it, and what they transform men into.
I'm not so great at reading tribal. Can you give me can you paraphrase what's in here, Alderman?
It's my hunter's journal. It contains information about everything I ever hunted or killed when I was one of the Seekers.
Anything about these Rougarou?
He just nods. I don't know which page. You'd have to flip through it, but it's in there.
Flip, 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 flip. He looks for pictures.
Eventually you come to one that shows like a man that's kind of hunched over. You see fur exploding out of his back and neck, his fingers elongating into claws, and he's holding the side of his head, and his teeth are like becoming these gnarly, like jagged things, and before him is the body, which has obviously been torn to shreds. And as you're kind of looking at it, as you like start to like try and like piecemeal it together and read it, roll me perception checks, everybody.
What's my perception? Regular 20, not a crit.
Okay.
Yeah, the easy crit 20.
You hear you critted?
Yeah.
Maybe it's because you still have your spirit sight on, but you see something moving through the tunnel behind the sheriff. I mean, behind the deputy. With a 20 modified, you hear scratching and sniffing that's wolfish in sound, coming from somewhere around you. The echoes, you can't really determine where, but there's an echoing that's coming from somewhere around you. And as you look up, you see a shadowy form move out onto the cistern walkway, kind of a hunched figure. Behind it, another one comes, and they kind of look up and look down into the pit at you. You see one of them looks like you, August, and the other one looks like the deputy. And they look down at you, and as they turn and look at each other, and they run forward and kind of leap off the cistern towards you, and that is where we're going to end tonight's episode.
Ooh.
Oof.
Here we go.
All right.
Oh, man.
All right, guys. So that is session 2, Scene of the Crime. Let's go ahead and do outros. Corey, and start with Corey, end with Keel.
Yeah, my name's Corey. I play with Absolute Tabletop guys every now and then. With probably my favorite 2 DMs being Mr. Tyler Hurst and Mr. Jeff Doty, who are both in this game. And then nothing to plug except, of course, you know, the whole LA Fitness thing from last time. You probably want to avoid the gym if you can find something better. That's all.
Go ahead, Dan. Freaking Corey.
Solid advice there. I'm gonna have to add my voice and agree. I'm Dan. I don't have anything really extra to say. Great session today. I'll hand it off.
Jeff, my dude.
Yeah, glad to have joined in here finally. Sad to have missed the first session, but definitely happy to be here now. And looking forward to seeing how it goes. Already a lot of intriguing elements that have been dropped in here. And yeah, I'm Jeff. I have a YouTube channel. It's called Encounterbalance, where I run my own games and do some other stuff. I also have a podcast / live show that I do called The Dudes of Yore with Jeremy, Lilly, and Chad Nick. So feel free to check out either of those if you're so inclined.
And last but not least, Keel.
Yo, thanks for another great session. Loving the way this mystery is sort of building up and unraveling at the same time. Can't wait for the next one next weekend. And definitely check out the Absolute Tabletop official Facebook group. It's how a lot of these games get organized. It's just an awesome community. Probably my favorite place on the internet. And check out Tyler's and Jeff's stuff that they've plugged. Awesome. Thank you.
No, thank you, sir. As always, thanks everybody for playing. Hey, I'm not saying it yet, Corey. You calm down. If you want to see more Providence, this is something that's been in the works for a while. It has changed drastically since the very first session I ran of it. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot. And if you want to get into games like this one, go check out Absolute Tabletop. Corey's just getting the camera closer and closer to his face. You dork. Thanks for playing, everybody. You guys are fantastic. I enjoy having you guys in the game. And as always, I hope you find yourselves in your game on a roll. That's it. See you guys. If you like the channel and the game, feel free to like and subscribe.